Hi, you're listening to Boggy Talk, Faith Conversations in the Mud, a resource of Church on Bayshore.
Welcome to this very spooky edition of Boggy Talk, because Halloween day. Hope you're doing well. You doing all right over there?
Oh, wait, what?
You awake?
I was asleep. I'm so tired, Justin.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. Well, and you're going to be more tired tomorrow after Halloween. So
I know.
Yeah.
This time of year, bro.
What happened to October? Why is October the new May and December in one month?
I know. I really do feel like we have overcorrected about how busy we are in December. So like we're piling everything in right now.
Yeah, get it all done now.
Yeah.
You remember like after everything shut down with COVID and we all realized how nice it was, like, and we were like, oh, it's so nice to slow down. And we were like, we're going to learn from this. And here we are having not learned from it.
I think about that a lot. You know, I'm like, I don't know what the answer is, but
we were having discussions about that even just as, you know, as staff as a church.
Yeah.
And, just what is the help?
Too much going on, man.
Yeah. But,
I'm good though. I'm good. It's good stuff. I'm just tired. I think part of it also is that I'm getting older.
This is a piece of it. That is true. Yeah. We must acknowledge the facts.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I am. I am doing all right.
What are you dressing up as tonight?
Myself.
Oh, okay.
Because that's scary.
You kind of look like a scarecrow.
You know, the best. It's true. I could just put a straw hat on.
Didn't Billy Grimes say you look like a scarecrow?
He did. He said I look like a lot of things. So
he's the king of the backwards compliment.
My arms are disproportionately long. I think even though I'm tall, my arms are very long for my body. You
could have had a good basketball career.
So I could have if I were more coordinated. But
you got some dance. You're coordinated.
I can do that. Not like the sports coordination that's required.
I think it was
like
just exposure.
Yeah, probably so. You know, it does. Probably so. But both my brothers were good at stuff like that, so I'm just a middle child. I have my own lanes, and I'm okay with that.
Well, your lane of golden pipes is a good lane.
All right. Yes. Well, yeah. The best costume we ever did, and we got I think maybe 1 year that we actually did a whole family. You know, when I see other families, and
your
they're like,
family or
my
when you were a
family,
kid?
My adult family.
Okay.
You know, you see other people and they had their whole family dressed up in a theme. I'm like, we logistically can never do that because everyone has such strong opinions, and that's fine. We want children with strong opinions.
Right.
It's hard to deal with while they're young. But
you said keep them to themselves a little more. But
that's
right.
But 1 year we just kind of forgot, like, oh yeah, we should do that, and so literally we all just we forced our kids to just put on different colored T-shirts, and we cut out little M's with white paper and taped them on our. And we were just M&Ms. And that was good. And people were like, awesome costume. I was like, great. It cost nothing. And we pulled it off in 5 minutes.
And then you turned them upside down to be W for Wyatt.
That's true. Well, you know, and then 1 year I did as a Georgia fan.
Are you guys a matching Disney shirt?
We're not even a Disney family. We don't. No, our kids would revolt. They would.
I think my kids would revolt too.
Yeah, not even little, they wouldn't have done that, which I don't think I would have done it either. But no judgment to those who do. It's cute for you.
Yeah, it's cute for you.
1 year I did go, probably the best costume I pulled off.
Lose them.
Yeah, that's true. I had some really bright blue tights and an orange T-shirt, and I wore those, and I put a paper bag over my head, and I put on the front Florida fan because it was a season they were terrible.
Ouch.
And that season also Georgia wasn't great, but you know, it was good, and I got a lot of laughs.
That game was this weekend, but we are pre-recording, so we don't know
exactly. So we'll see. We'll see. We will. The time will tell.
Time will tell. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah. Well, I as a Georgia fan, like there's this confidence, but also this like, but we're still Georgia, and we'll probably eventually pull a Georgia. So we'll see.
Not the past 2 years.
So maybe the curse is broken. I don't know. Speaking of curses and Halloween.
Nice. That was a good segue.
Hey, today we're talking about really a question that comes up sometimes, and it is Halloween. It's not can a Christian celebrate Halloween, but we're talking about scary movies and really the entertainment of the season. Because really, you know, as marketers do, they capitalize on the season, and now you'll see the whole month of October for some networks, for some
Hallmark.
Does
Hallmark do a Halloween thing?
They probably do.
I mean, their version of a scary movie is like the husband murders the wife, right? Isn't that Hallmark? No, that's not Hallmark. That's Lifetime.
That's Lifetime. That's Lifetime. So Hallmark. I don't know what the Christmas version of Hallmark movies is for Hallmark. For Halloween. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
But we're asking.
Theirs is Christmas 365, right?
They probably so. It's Christmas in July. It's Christmas in
I don't
February.
know that I've ever watched the Hallmark Channel.
Why would I? Or why would you?
I mean,
no judgment. Again, We have to nuance everything.
That's
to those
right.
of you who love it, it's totally fine.
Yeah, totally cool.
But we're
If
talking
you're
about
a woman, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Men who watch it, it's fine.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Maybe you're being a good husband.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so scary movies.
Yeah,
Scary
scary
movies.
movies. Should a Christian watch scary movies? And where is there a line? What's the line? And how do you have discernment with what comes, what kind of forms of entertainment you have? So there we go. Teeing it off and go.
Well,
Let's nuance this down to.
It's kind of, I know, right? It's kind of like everything we talk about, right? Like
it's boggy.
Just because something,
Ish.
is permissible doesn't mean it's profitable.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, I think like, I don't know how profitable much of it is.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And then I would say, secondly, it's kind of like, but then you could say like, if it's entertainment, and that's okay. So I would say like, what are the clear things, right? Like if there's a bunch of nudity, you shouldn't be watching it.
Right.
If there's a bunch of profanity, you probably shouldn't be watching it.
Mm-hmm.
I think more so we're talking about like with younger kids, right? Like, And I will just say that I remember having the pants scared off of me. And I can see images from scary movies as I'm thinking about it right now. We are visual people.
Yeah.
And I will just say that those things do affect you.
Mm-hmm.
So even in my adult life, man, I went and saw, I forget what the name of the movie was, but it was kind of based on the Manson murders. And it was these people, they like showed up and they were like, tormenting the people around their house. They had like masks on. And I came home that night and Christy actually was like with our two kids in Jacksonville. I went with some friends, and I remember being like, what's going on outside my house? Kind of like
every noise, every
So I would just say like, I am so much less paranoid because I don't watch that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's that. And so then we take down to the child level, right? And their inability to decipher reality versus, right now. And I would just say like, that definitely needs to be in play.
Absolutely. I think this really does come into play, specifically talking about kids. And as they get older, we've got teenagers, and many of you have teenagers, and they want to watch scary movies, and that's kind of where this conversation stems from. And
some don't at all,
and some don't.
Some do.
Yeah, and it's funny. I think one, you be confident enough, know yourself. Like you don't have to watch it just because the cool kids are doing it. Even adults, I would say. Approaching this as from a parent's point of view, like we had this conversation with one of our kids. He was just like, hey, I want to watch a scary movie. It's October. And I'm like, okay, well, fundamentally, I'm okay with you watching a scary movie because like it's entertainment.
Right.
However, we talked about, it's like, here's the thing, buddy. It's like a lot of these movies just have like sex scenes and stuff, which no, we're not going to do that. Like that's an automatic no. Like it's going to stick in your head. Easy no. I was like, then... like you said, like there's tons of language or profanity. Like, is that what we really need to be feeding our minds? So it's like, if we can find something, because I understand, in college, especially the way when the Scream movies came out, and I like to be scared. Like it's kind of like this, the adrenaline rush.
Is that why you work with me?
That's right. I just, I like to scare people. I like to pop out from, but like, it also, I feel like doesn't necessarily make me paranoid. Now, my wife would say,
you just sound like to scare people. Like they're like pop out. I just think that's funny that like this image of you like scaring her. I can see Christy Wyatt just be like,
she does not appreciate it.
Do not do that.
She does not appreciate it. No, she's fun, but she just doesn't appreciate it, and that's fine.
I
and so,
can see
as
that.
her husband, I respect that most of the time. Now. Now I've lost what I was going to say.
I just have this visual, and you're so long. So like, how can you even hide?
It's hard to hide. That's very true. But man, I have the best video of scaring our kids because when we had
they've talked to me about that.
When we
I'm just kidding.
We just moved in the house and we came back and the garage door was open and they were like, oh no, someone's in the house. And I was like, oh, I bet somebody is in the house. And so like I ran in real quick. I was like, I'll go check it out. And then I gave them the all coast clear and then I just hid real quick. And then and there's the best video of them running in and just like me just scaring the mess out of it. It's hilarious. Anyway, I understand the appeal. I do think you got to have a lot of discernment here, especially with older kids. Now, younger kids, you shouldn't be watching scary movies with them. Now, there's scary elements in a lot of movies. Even Disney movies can be too much, those kinds of movies for younger kids. And you got to really have a lot of discernment there. So as an older, like an adult Christian, I make my own choices, use my own entertainment. I would just pose the question is, okay, is this beneficial? Is the entertainment value, you answer the questions, is there inappropriate stuff that I shouldn't be seeing in this movie anyway, or any show, period, whether it's scary or not? But is this really a value? Is this the best use of my time?
Right.
And right now, at this stage of life, I'd say no.
Well, and I think about my time, like, and my kids, if they watch that and they struggle sleeping that night, I'm like,
it's just worse.
I'm too tired. I was falling asleep at the beginning of Boggy Talk. Like, I don't want that,
Yeah.
One of our kids, they like scary movies, and I actually had to, like, they were starting to be like, they were like almost like identifying, like, I'm into scary movies, and like telling their friends. I'm like, this is kind of. So I would say, like, even there too, like, it becomes this weird identity thing, and so, like, guarding against that, like, and I felt like it was like they're pushing the envelope, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so I think, like, we don't want to be legalistic, but we also want to recognize, like, our tendency to, like, be licentious, to kind of be liberal in terms of morality, and I think scary movies are sometimes one of many avenues for that, and so we just got to guard that. But I mean, you could say more, but I would ultimately just say, like, a lot of grace here, a lot of liberty here, but be wise, and definitely as a parent. And this is maybe a good pluggedinonline.com.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they don't have certain movies that are older, Common Sense Media, which isn't a Christian one, but it gives you.
Yeah, they're pretty.
It's going to ruin the movie for you.
Yeah, but it's worth knowing what's coming.
But you can know what sexual content's in there and all that stuff. I guess I would have thought that premarital sex would have stopped after the 80s and 90s, and all the movies where if you committed premarital sex,
you're the
you were
first
slashed.
You
were murdered.
Exactly. So yeah, you would think that would have been a deterrent.
Yeah.
But apparently not.
It wasn't.
I would say too, another element of this is
those weren't Christian movies.
Yeah, there's different types of scary movies. There's
and
like
those
the slasher.
Yeah,
the slasher. That's right.
yeah.
The slasher, who's the killer. Then there's like the ones that do get into like the supernatural and the demonic and spirits. And I would say I would be even more cautious there because it's interesting to me that these kinds of movies are still being made in a culture that more and more like denies a spiritual reality.
I know, right?
And so there's this incredible curiosity about the spirit world. Oh, but it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But we're also like super into the demonic. I would just say, why? Right. If you, I mean, I'm not saying you can't watch that. It's just, but also like Jesus says, he's like, the eye is the lamp to the body.
Right.
And so you do really have to consider, like, in all this, and this is any type of entertainment, so not just scary movies, but this is even what what kind of comedies are we watching, and what kind of, is there humor crude, and what are we putting in? It is forming us, and you cannot deny that there is some type of effect in us that we ultimately have to reconcile, deal with, and confront. So
yeah, that's good. I was going to say, like, some women who are super paranoid but watch murder shows all the time, right? Like, seriously, like, I mean, I think some of it could be engaging and interesting. You learn about the human mind, but then at the end of the day, it starts, you're watching that at 10 o'clock at night. You can't sleep. Like,
well, it's just knowing that, like, I used to love the show 24, which was super intense.
Jack Bauer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I
never
loved
seen
it.
an episode
And
of
Christy did like it too, but then she started got to the point where it's like, oh man, it's like at nighttime, it would like ramp her up and like make it hard to sleep. Not because it was scary, but just because it was like, and she's like, this isn't worth it. And she's incredibly mature. It's like, hey, it's just not worth it for me to watch it. I like it, but it's not worth it. You know, and that's just, and she wouldn't mind me saying that because she's like, it's just true. So just asking those kinds of questions, like, is it beneficial? Like, what benefit does it bring? And there's probably something better we could be doing. So
I think we're good.
Yeah. All right. So
speaking of scary,
moving on to questions. Hey, if you got questions about that, just let us know. Maybe we're going to start asking, can I watch this? No, please don't do that to us.
We're not going to answer that.
So question here, last week on Boggy Talk, we followed up on the sermon that was about wives. And the question is, what about the husbands? So, what practical advice? Yeah, if you're here on Sunday, we addressed that. And then what's cool is that we have friends in the neighborhood who came for the first time last Sunday with the wives. And like, we have to come back now. We got to hear about the husbands.
Yeah, good. That's a win because, you never know with that topic.
Exactly. And so, I think we did address some things specifically about husbands last week on Boggy Talk in terms of leadership and how to, honor. I would say, practical advice. One is man, just listen
Mhm.
to wise counsel,
Mhm.
whether it be from your wife or from outsiders, just who are speaking in your life. Just be you. As men, we typically don't like to bring up our own issues or
Right.
struggles and ask people for help,
Right.
or even just, hey, I'm struggling with this.
Yeah.
Can you pray with me? Like we
Right.
struggle even in that. I would say, just take that step.
Right.
I mean, that'd be a very practical thing to do. And if you don't have that, find that in community and life group, within the life group, within the church, all those things. That's where I would start.
Yeah, I think, what I was trying to get at Sunday, hopefully I did, is like the foundation for being a husband is that you really do like love your wife in the way that Christ loves the church, and that you are giving yourself up for her. So like your motivation to be a good husband is her, like, and her sanctification.
Yeah.
So like, I think that's where, like, I know it seems so simple, but that's where we go wrong as men, is that we try to then lead our family, and our motivation isn't like, really, God has given me to be her husband to help her become like Christ. Like, and so I think when you start trying to apply any of this stuff without, hey, that being my desire, like, you're in a bad place. And I'll admit, like, over 17 years, like, that hasn't always been like, I haven't even like asked God, give me a heart for her like you have for the church, right? Like, I've been like, more so like, God, help us have peace. God, help us work out this conflict. Help us be, in my case, like, the pastor and wife it should be. And it's like, no, God, give me your heart for her.
Yeah.
And I know that like, you might say, well, you don't know my wife, do you know the church? Do you know yourself?
Yeah.
Like, and God's love for you, Hosea and Gomer, like, which, first of all, don't marry somebody named Gomer, but like, that's the story. Like, no offense to our ladies named Gomer out there, but every
if
nuance.
there's a lady named Gomer out there, please send us a message. We want to meet you.
She's out there watching Hallmark with her husband. But anyway, who's told her to watch Hallmark. Anyway, okay. Yeah. So yeah, I would just say like, that's gotta be the foundation. And if it's not, like, you have to continually be submitting and repenting, like that you're not there.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, Jesus died for us.
Yeah.
And so that's the calling for a husband is
that's
to die.
C.S. Lewis quote from Sunday, bro.
Yes, exactly. The first crown we wear is a crown of thorns. And that's just, that is true. And so I would say husbands, like, men, just be in that posture of humility and submission to God so that you can serve. I mean, we're called to serve and love our families. As a husband, it is laying down our lives. And I think that ultimately, Jesus says that if those who want to save your life, you'll lose it, but whoever loses my sake will find it. Like, that part of this, like, you lay it down, but it's so good. It's so rewarding. It's so beautiful.
It is.
And the joy that comes with the Lord, and then also just the joy that comes in your marriage too. It's not just like, it is just, God is faithful in all of his promises.
And sometimes it's not.
That's true.
Brother,
that is very true.
I feel like we spend a lot of time on like the fact that there are women who are called to submit and their husbands aren't living for the Lord. And so like, submission in light of that, like, I also recognize like there are a lot of men who their wives, like, their goal is not Christ. And that's why there's not a submissive spirit, or there's not, but that's not the condition, right? Like, Jesus is the condition.
Yeah.
And so, I would just go back to the things I said on Sunday, like, specifically, like, sanctification for her needs to be the goal, service needs to be the vehicle, and studying her is your lifelong call.
Yeah. Yeah. Behold, manner of God, love the Father's lavish on us that while we were, I'm combining like 3 verses. Let me just start there.
You are. Yeah.
Well, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And so, like,
Romans
your wife
5:8,
is,
bro.
Yes, your wife is never going to be perfect.
Nope.
You're never going to be perfect.
Nope.
But we are called to be like Christ in this, and that means laying down your life.
Yep.
So, behold, manner of love, the Father's lavished on us, that we can be called children of God. That's the verse I was combining.
I would just say too, man, we always say, hey, we're here. But if there's a guy out there and you're just struggling with how to flesh this out, like, we're welcome to meet with you. I'm going to be very blunt with you. And I think Justin's, who's not as blunt as me, is so busy that he's probably going to be blunt with you too. But it's because we're for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we need. We need people who are for us who'll tell us hard things.
Yeah.
So.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well,
all right. I don't think there was another question.
All right.
Yeah. Well, let's move on.
I got a game.
All right.
We can take our time then, because we're doing good on time today, which is rare.
This is rare. This is a rarity.
Yeah, you and I. Okay. So I I want to know which of these movies is the scariest movie. And so I got a bracket.
Okay.
So there's 12. I gave 4 buys in this.
Okay.
You know, so anyway. Okay. So, and I kind of did them in 4 different categories. So the first category are like the classic, like 80s, made 15 of them movies, you know?
Yeah.
So which is scarier to you, Halloween or Friday the 13th? First of all, you have to tell me if you've seen them.
I have seen like pieces of some of the Friday the 13th ones.
Okay.
Like, but I don't
Like
think I've
body
seen
pieces or
probably.
Okay.
I haven't seen any of those in their entirety.
Okay.
So I don't even really know the premise of the killer for Halloween, other than he's
Michael Myers.
Yeah, I don't
He
know
was
his
a little
backstory.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like
And Jason Voorhees.
yeah, he was a lot stronger.
I'm good with names.
There
Just
you
so
go.
you know. So
You are good with names.
I haven't watched them in like 30
I also
years.
feel like Friday the 13th, I know that it does take place at a camp.
Yes.
And I just feel like you could avoid the camp, and if
That's
this
true.
camp has a reputation for all this, you
true.
could just not go to that camp. So I'm going to say Halloween is scarier,
Halloween is
because
scarier to
it's a
you.
little less avoidable.
Okay. All right. That moves on to the second round in the Elite 8.
All right.
Okay. The next category is like 80s scary movies.
Okay.
It
Oh.
and The Exorcist, which might be to the 70s, and it was
Yeah.
actually, I think, 90, but that's okay.
Okay, so clowns are creepy, and because of it, clowns are creepy. And
he's going after kids.
The Exorcist, I have seen the old It from the 80s, because we watched it on a bus, like on a high school band
Christian
trip.
camp?
No,
Okay,
our
I'm just
youth
kidding.
group watched it.
He was just like sick of y'all.
But I
The youth
remember
pastor was just sick of y'all.
He's just like, yeah.
He's like, I
watch
hope this clown
I
kid
dare you to
kills
tell your
these kids.
parents.
Yeah.
And then I have not seen The Exorcist, but I think that would freak me out, because it's just, the spirit. Yeah.
Okay.
And like there, if you read, like there's actually like reports of like supposed paranormal activity on the set of The Exorcist, but who knows?
Okay, so that also makes it to the Elite 8. By the way, I would have answered differently than you on both
Okay.
the last two. Okay, the next category is 90s scary movies.
90s.
That's in your wheelhouse.
All right.
The Blair Witch Project.
I did see that.
And Scream. Which one was scarier?
Okay. So that's hard, because when I saw the Blair Witch Project, I had a friend who was like, it's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
And did you think it was true? Because remember they were saying it was a true story?
And I was just confused at the end. I was
Okay.
like, what happened? Like, so it actually didn't scare me.
Oh, man.
And
freaked me out. I could see
Scream didn't scare me, but it was so, because it was making fun of horror. I think the humor in it is kind of like, so, but I think
Are you thinking of not another scary movie and not Scream?
no, there's like, because Scream
What's
is
funny about
but
Scream?
It was, well, I was saying,
What's funny
the
about kids
humor
being killed,
is how
Justin?
it was parody of horror movies. Like, it was like the whole killer's formula in Scream is based off of,
yeah.
and
Okay,
so
got it.
I found that intriguing. It was very novel when it came. It kind of reinvented the slasher movie in the 90s.
I appreciate all that. Which one's scarier, though?
I would say there's definitely more jumpy scenes in Scream, so I'm going with it.
Okay,
Because
all right.
you jump a lot because of the music and
And it's your favorite scary movie?
I
don't
guess
wanna do- Okay, the next is a different category. Which movie was scarier? Left Behind starring Kirk Cameron or Left Behind starring Nicolas Cage?
Wow. I didn't see either one.
Really?
No.
Oh, we're about to have a get
I
together.
did- so I
we never
did-
get together, and so we're about to get together.
I did read like a few of the Left Behind books when they first came out.
Sure you did.
But based off of cinematography, my idea of what they look like based off of budget. I mean, if Nicolas Cage is in the movie, at least there's a budget for it. Even though he's not my favorite actor, I'm going to say the Kirk Cameron version is far scarier, because it would have just not been as good quality.
So we are now in the Elite 8.
Okay.
So back to the slasher movie. 80s slasher movie, made 15 of them. Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, now again, I've seen pieces of Nightmare on Elm Street, and the whole premise of it is that he gets you in your dreams.
Yeah.
You gotta sleep.
I know.
I
you
mean,
do.
also if everybody is, and they couldn't figure out why,
At
but
this
also
point in
you
my
can
life, I'm
move.
taking getting murdered if we're not sleeping.
I know, so I think that's scary. It's like,
Okay.
all right, so that's scary. He's gonna get you in your dreams. You can't
Freddy
fall-
Krueger's
Yeah.
creepy
Oh
too.
man.
Okay. I should have put Child's Play in here.
Oh.
Chucky. Oh man. Man.
Man, that is
Because I
funny.
had that. Everybody had that like little buddy guy.
My
know?
buddy, my buddy.
And they used that for a scary
Yes.
movie and he's just staring at you.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's weird. That
All
is
right,
creepy.
back to
Dolls,
the
they're creepy.
80s-ish movies.
Okay.
The Shining, which I also think might have been in the 70s, and The Exorcist.
Okay, I saw The Shining, and maybe it was because I think I was in high school because that old. I mean, not when it came out. It was from the 70s. It didn't scare me. I thought it was just really
the
weird.
twins in the hallway.
That was weird.
scared
It was
you?
freaky, but also I watched it with a bunch of friends from youth group after church one time, which
Yeah,
was not wise.
Well,
it
I mean, your
didn't
youth
seem
pastor did let you watch it on the bus. So,
it didn't scare me. It's probably just lost on me.
so The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Scream and The Ring.
No, I did see The Ring, and it was freaky. Okay.
Scarier.
But it's been a long time since I've seen it because it's old now. Because I'm old now.
I know, right? Because we're old.
Yeah, I feel like it was like more like cringe, like, oh, I can't, like, yeah. So I'm gonna go with The Ring.
All right.
Scarier. Yeah.
Okay. And then the last category, Left Behind starring Kirk Cameron and The Shack. Which is scarier?
Well, they both represent some pretty whack theology.
That is true. Their theology is scary.
I did read The Shack. I didn't watch the movie. Scarier. I'm gonna go with Left Behind.
Okay. I will say in The Shack, the narration of like the murder, like of the kid, his kid and all that, that was so sad. That's like
it was
a
very
different
sad.
level of
Yeah.
scary.
Did you watch the movie?
No, I've never
I
seen
haven't
the
seen
movie.
it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, because I don't condone that stuff. All right. Nightmare on Elm Street or The Exorcist in your final four?
Whew. Okay, so I'm
Which
gonna
one's
go.
scarier?
Man, again, getting you in your dreams and your sleep, and then you're dead.
I
It's
know.
that's
I know.
freaky. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you're afraid to fall asleep, and then sleep is like those. Like the premise of that movie is like robbing you of something that is just so joyful and life giving.
I think that you may have answered this differently 20 years ago.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
you want
Right
sleep
now,
so
I'm
much.
like, just sleep is awesome.
All right, Left Behind starring Kirk Cameron and The Ring.
Ring is scary.
Okay.
I gotta just
Yeah,
eliminate
I agree.
Kirk.
I just
you
want
know?
Left Behind.
That's
in
right.
there. Okay, and then which is the scariest movie, Nightmare on Elm Street or The Ring?
Okay. See, again with The Ring, you're like, isn't that the one? It's like they watch a videotape.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Like, don't watch the videotape. But then they don't know. But then your curiosity, it's kind of this like, oh, but what is it? Will it really get me?
Yeah, I have middle schoolers. I definitely understand why people would do something even though it's stupid.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, yeah, it won't get me. Boom.
Gotta watch it.
I'm gonna get Nightmare on Elm Street.
I figured.
I just think
Okay.
it's just so
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that the scariest movie of all time to you?
But then again, I haven't seen a lot of these, so I can't really say.
Oh, look at you.
But I would say
'Cause it's not
based off
edifying.
of premise and based off of fear, yeah, that would be it right there.
Yeah. Do you know that like when I was a kid, I was watching like Friday the 13th?
Really?
Not all these movies.
I think I saw like bits and pieces.
I saw
of
The
them
Exorcist
from
in high
different things.
school.
Yeah.
I don't really know what the scariest movie I ever watched was. I think what terrified me is when I was little, I would watch Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh,
and then go to bed.
that's you didn't put that on there. That's scary.
Well, it's not a movie.
I remember watching Unsolved Mysteries, and when you're watching that, you're like convinced the guy they're talking about is like out on your front porch. He's out there watching me watch this, and he's about to bust in my house. That's what because that
Because
inability.
the mystery was unsolved.
Yeah, and you're just
I
they're
feel like
out
he's still
there.
out there.
Yeah, and then they would have the ones about the alien crop circles, and you're like, okay, well that's move on. But yeah,
Yeah.
the ones where it's just like this murder's never been solved, and they're the killers at large. And if you have any information, and some actually got solved. So there you go.
They did.
Some of them are now
That's good.
unsolved.
They're
mysteries.
solved mysteries.
Well, I
Yeah.
think we solved some mysteries today.
we did.
In a very Scooby-Doo kind of way.
Wow, I like that.
All right. Well, hey, if you've got questions about anything, please send them our way, and we look
Am
forward.
I Scooby and you're Shaggy?
I mean, I'm long and gangly. I guess so. There we go.
Okay, and
You can be
smell,
Fred.
and I
You can
kinda
be Fred
smell.
with black hair. It's okay.
Okay. Is Fred the blonde hair guy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's the dude. All right. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Boggy Talk. We are so glad you joined in the conversation. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss a beat.